Hey guys, welcome to my apology video. I'd just like to say, Connor, graded gem, I'm extremely sorry for underestimating how incompetent and unprofessional you are. Like, what the hell is this thumbnail? Imagine a company wanting you to take them seriously, and then they put a crosshair on someone's face in a thumbnail because they were criticized. I don't know what kind of Eminem nonsense this is. I don't know if this is some sort of challenge to a rap battle. What the hell? For some reason, Connor both wants me to speak in absolutes, but also is claiming defamation, doing his best Jacob impression, I guess. The reason I say I don't know, or that I'm not certain, or something is an opinion, is because it's just that. There's a reason for it. Clearly, he doesn't understand defamation. I don't know why people do this, but you obviously did not make a 30-minute video and not know who I was, even though you want to let on that you don't.
You know, I know this guy from the Logan Paul, and that's it. I think he's been on some E4, but realistically, yeah, it's just not true. On some drama that this rattle guy has effectively given to me.
Connor wants to let on that my original video was for views, for clickbait. I don't know how to put this kindly, but if I was going to clickbait something, it wouldn't be your name. Mostly did that video because I thought it was important that those people had a platform as large as yours in order to express their displeasure with the situation. If it was something that was just recent and it was cleared up to the best of your ability, I would not have made it. I thought it was a worthy purpose. I still do. You've had 10 months, coming up on 10 months to resolve the issue. You clearly haven't, and you're clearly trying to jump ship, or tried to jump ship. I don't know. It's even the people that are forgiving are very clearly indicating that they've lost funds in the transaction, in the incident. Great that they forgive you for it. But also, if there's people that haven't, it's important that we hear from them too. I don't think he has any clue what I was talking about when I was saying that he should be prepared for the worst. When you run a business like this and you're handling a lot of other people's money or valuables, that needs to be in place.
We did. Preparing for the worst was my biggest concern when the hobby was blowing up in May, June. Something was brewing in 2020.
Connor, please, you were not prepared for the worst. That's why it's almost 10 months later, and you paid, what, 80% of people? And those 80% kind of know they got shafted. It's even in your own comments.
Yeah, it's a horrible incident, but if I'd given such awful compensation, 80%, it'd be a lot lower, I would expect anyway.
Keep in mind, everything in this video is my opinion. It is definitely my opinion that Graded Gem is a pop-up shop. And from my best understanding, it looks like Connor cannot wait to drop everything Graded Gem, be done with it. Obviously got into it because it could make some money. Now doesn't want anything to do with it and can't wait to be done.
But yeah, Graded Gem wasn't a pop-up shop. We had official dealership with PSA. We were in communication with PSA once a month on video calls. Spoke to many of the managers there. Like, we had a good rapport until everything, didn't.
What happened with PSA, Connor? Do you want to tell us?
I can say that I am honestly sorry this incident has occurred. And I can say I'm honestly sorry about, maybe how Graded Gem played out.
Sounds like some very unprofessional and irresponsible mistakes were made that you can't tell your customers what happened. The relationship with PSA has broken down. We don't know why that is exactly.
No. And unfortunately, I can't state why.
Don't worry, Connor. I have a very reputable and anonymous source that has informed me, so I'll let your customers know for you since you can't. I'm going to say that it had something to do with the fact that you were assigned director at Ace Grading. I can't imagine PSA would like that. competing company. Weird that you would do that while you were still taking submissions, that you still had submissions out. Obviously a conflict of interest. You couldn't have thought at any point that they would be happy about that, honestly. And you don't have the nuts to tell your customers that this is happening, or to do it in a professional way that you can close things down first before taking that role.
Time around, he's not done any research. He didn't contact us, and he's just clickbaited the hell out of it without any substance.
All right, Connor, if you want research, here's some research. Let's take a look at your page here with the UK government. Very public information. Weird. Ace Grading Limited, role director, resigned. Appointed on the 29th of April, 2021. Isn't that shortly after the parcel went missing? Could you have been maybe a little bit too concerned with this and not dealing with your customers' lost cards? Weird timing. Weird that you resigned. Also weird that the relationship with PSA is breaking down around the same time. It's almost like that source that I have is a legitimate one. So here we go. We got graded gems on there as well. All this info is very publicly available with the lv.uk. Ace Grading. Incorporated on 29th of April 2021. Maybe you should have dealt with all your stuff. Finished off graded gem, put it to rest before starting any of this other stuff, and you wouldn't have issues with PSA. Maybe you could have handled the customers a little bit better, a little bit more quickly. I don't know. It just looks like it was back burner, all around back burner, and that's why it's 10 months and there's still 20% of the people that aren't refunded. 80%, which I'm sure a good chunk of which disagree with the payout, but just took it anyway. A couple of them are probably those little suckles that showed up in all the comments to give you all that sympathy that you're after. But yeah, so appointed on 29th of April, resigned on the 13th of October. So it wasn't even right away. I guess maybe you wanted to save face and not look like you jumped ship too early, but you definitely did. Too early for PSA, too early for your customers, so you couldn't even inform them that you were shutting down shop. I don't know. Doesn't look very professional to me. Remember, you asked for some research. Here you go.
I wouldn't have sacrificed other personal or business interests, or with the intention of making the best of this awful situation.
The professional and responsible thing to do would be to put your other business interests on hold until you can clear everything up. How this doesn't make sense to you, or how this is like a burden, is beyond me. You started the graded gem company, the middleman services. You obviously hate it. Finish it off. Do it right. Close it out right. And then go on to the next thing if you don't want to do it.
You know, I'm basically a glorified postman for the next 2 years of my life.
Poor Connor. Started a business to make money. Now he's a glorified postman and has to deal with shutting everything down and doing his customers right. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.
I'll give you my honest opinion. If you lost my cards, I wouldn't like you either. I wouldn't like you at all. From a personal level, I just can't accept the misinformation, the blatant lies, especially from this Pokemon Rattle stated about myself and the company. And I can't just sit here and just allow it to be said, and then I'm just told that I'm a scammer, I stole cards, I didn't do anything to rectify the situation, I didn't have the proper insurance in place. You know, those things are not true.
Let's be clear here. I did not say that you were scamming anyone. If that's what you took from it, I don't know what you were watching. Do I think you're incompetent? Do I think you're unprofessional? Do I think this is a disaster of a situation that could have been avoided? Yes, of course. Do I think you were prepared? No, you weren't. This was as makeshift as it comes, and it was only a matter of time before someone got burned. Your customers, and in turn yourself. the real victim being the customers when you advertise your service as the safest thing to do, and they think that they're covered because you received the cards, you had them in your possession at that point. Yeah, it's a little bit not on them and a whole lot on you. You can blame anyone else that you want to, but it comes down to you were not prepared for the situation, a situation that was, predictable. If you send out enough parcels, something's going to get lost. So be ready for it. You weren't. You can say as many times as you want that everything was great and perfect and ready to go, and that you knew the situation was going to happen, and you had every measure in place, but you didn't. It's 10 months later. People are still not all paid out. People are disagreeing on the prices. There was no system put in place beforehand. It was terrible. I know you like to flip-flop on the insurance stuff, how it went down, how it played out, how you set it up, how it was ironclad, how it wasn't ironclad, how they wanted to get away with not paying anything, how you made them pay for stuff. Let's just listen to the statements.
Going through, the insurance company picked up some nuisance legal term from absolutely nowhere and tried to basically say, oh no, actually it's all on the submitters. They should have had their own insurance. It's actually you're just a bailey of the goods. Don't you worry about it. That's effectively what they said, and how awful would that have been? The insurance company didn't didn't rely on our pre-grades. They basically said, well, it's just an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion on cards. They didn't know the cards. They don't know the cards. They fought tooth and nail for it, and I made sure that we upheld our responsibilities. There might be some disagreements in how those were calculated. I'll speak through those disagreements, but it was very difficult. 3-4 months of this was wasted on getting that calculation agreed by the insurance company. But that happened. Make sure that policy is ironclad. I had been here and I thought it was. And, anyone who's in this situation, I would suggest you run through this. I would pretend that a parcel has gone missing with your insurance company, and I'd do it. I'd do a quick run. Look, the policy was there. It was meant to do what it did. It didn't do exactly what it did. Understood how this process works. Who understood how raw cards go to a grading company in the US and then they come back graded, and that's a different value. Like I said, the insurance company, I don't think they understood what they signed up for, not the other way around.
When I brought up the fact that you should have some sort of emergency fund, I wasn't referring to the funds coming from the next people purchasing. It's really weird that you keep coming back to this, like you didn't want to steal from the people that were submitting after the people that lost their cards. That's not what I was suggesting. That clearly wasn't what I was suggesting. I don't know if you're playing dumb here, or you just generally don't understand the fact that a business that's dealing with this monetary value, whether it be cash, whether it be collectibles, when you're holding that stuff for other people, you should have some funds set aside, not funds coming in from the next one. Even if you don't have it in the beginning, you've had enough submissions over the years now that you should have funds set aside in case of emergency. I'm not talking about funds from the next people submitting. Funds set aside. So if you had profits, if you had a loan, if you had whatever else, if you have that money on the side, that money ready to go in case of emergencies, in case your insurance company doesn't want to pay out, in case you need to top that off, it should be set aside, not straight into your pocket. Why are you putting all of the profit from the company directly into your pocket? That's what it seems like. Is that what happened? You have zero funds available on the side? What? Why do you not have some sort of emergency fund in case something isn't fully covered, or if the process takes too long to save face with your customer base?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. The funds that we did have, obviously submitters had paid us money, but we don't actually count anything as profit or revenue earned until an order's completed, because otherwise it's a very dangerous game. You're using other people's money. I believe other services have fallen into this trap. Financial prudence and responsibility is at the core of my principles at Graded Gem. If we had decided end of April 2021, you know what, we'll just take the money from these submitters and give it to these submitters. Nothing. Otherwise, this is what it's me taking the money from submitter A to the person who's lost their cards. It's effectively theft. If you ask me, that would have been the biggest scandal. I think I've kind of explained this one already. It would have been theft to take money from the submitters that had paid and given it to the people involved in the incident.
How were the values calculated, Connor?
No bent in half. No, or nothing like that, near mint, because then to mint, and then we use the median price.
I don't know if you guys have ever ordered near mint cards from eBay, from Troll and Toad. Near mint doesn't mean near mint. He goes on to say in other sections that it's all opinions, but then now they're going to take opinions of sold listings on eBay in order to calculate a value. I feel like this should have all been done beforehand, whether it be pre-grades or whatever. Yes, raw value, understandable. The cards weren't graded yet. Unfortunate for those involved that it wasn't at least on the way back. But if you guys haven't noticed yet, Connor really, really likes to make an excuse and say it's not an excuse. It's like, not making an excuse, but insert excuse. So he was pretty upset about my read-through of his little statement here, where he likes to tack on to the end. However, this makes the incident no less significant for those involved. Make an excuse, cover up the excuse with pity, or say it's not an excuse. It's all throughout his video. It's all throughout his statements. You can't make excuses and say they're not excuses. It's still an excuse at that point.
Again, I'm not going to go after any submitter who's involved in this incident at all.
Weird that you say that multiple times, but you did. You did go after somebody.
The guy didn't have a clue, and I'm there to protect everyone as submitters, and that's what I will do.
In what backwards world do you think that you're protecting your submitters from me? I think you got it mixed up a little bit here. I'm giving them a voice, sort of similar to the voice that you have, the platform that you have, the one that's slightly bigger than mine. You have a platform to speak on. These people don't. They make posts. They're upset. Guess what? You get to hear them now through me. I'm the microphone, megaphone. I'm going to show you what they think. They're going to get their turn. This is a pretty good one, and we'll keep it all intact. He says he's not going to go after somebody involved. He says multiple times that they're just angry. They don't know what their cards are worth. And not only that, this customer is also an unreliable source. Your customers are unreliable. You're going to protect your customers, but they're unreliable sources. Okay.
It sucked. You lost your cards, and I can never apologise enough for that. What I'm not going to do is go after someone who is involved in this submission and incident. Realistically, they're angry. They've lost their cards. They're just putting numbers out there, hundreds of thousands of pounds, 15,000 cards. Like, no one knows this information. They're just angry. And what they're doing is they're just saying, oh, they were worth 30. Well, they weren't. They weren't. That particular person has accepted our claim now. If you didn't want to accept our claim, you could go the legal route. You could get a solicitor. Trust me, that costs a lot less than 27. The guy's just angry. You shouldn't be using unreliable sources from a statement.
Again, I don't know if Connor's playing dumb here, but he seems to let on that I'm somehow making it worse for people that got wronged in the situation. I'm twisting it somehow, kind of like he twists every statement with excuse, non-excuse.
That guy has had a torrid time, and then you're twisting it. You're twisting it to just get extra views on YouTube. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying people should be happy. I definitely don't think people should be happy if they've been involved in the incident.
You don't think people should be happy, but you also seem to not think they should have the ability to speak out on a platform of a similar size. Weird. So here we have a great example of Connor's flip-flop excuses. At first he says he doesn't want to minimize, but numbers wouldn't make a statement. Matters, no numbers, numbers. Make up your mind. Either make an excuse or not. These half-ass, cowardly excuses where you backpedal and fucking sugarcoat it, they're dumb.
I don't want to minimize what people have said, But realistically, we sent 50,000 cards out in Feb 2021, and there was no way I was going to do a statement and say this is a tiny percentage of that. Like, this matters. It matters to everyone involved. If we'd lost 10 cards coming back from PSA or going to PSA, I would want the same reaction. I'd want the same care. That's why no numbers are involved. We've sent 500,000 cards just from the UK to PSA over the last year. A huge operation that I think sometimes is just, it's not thought about. What you're thinking about is your 10 cards.
It's insensitive, but it's only a meaningless number. It's so small, it shouldn't matter, but it's insensitive, guys. I'm sensitive.
It seems insensitive, but really is a 0 point percentage, and that is insensitive to those people.
I don't understand how 1 minute you can take responsibility, say you're doing the right thing, then you turn around and you're blaming FedEx for it. Keep in mind, you also said that you didn't insure through FedEx, so parcels get lost. You don't have insurance through them, but now you're going to push the blame off to them a little bit. Guys, don't worry. It was FedEx. It wasn't us. We would never do you wrong.
The FedEx, I think, is the main. He's the main person to blame. The main company. They just never should have lost a parcel, but they do. Couriers do. That's a fact of life, unfortunately.
Let's check out another Connor flip-flop here. He does say people got hit bad, which is weird because he's been saying that he's fully compensated and it was great compensation. 80% of people accepted it already. No one's complaining. But here he's also saying no one's lost tens of thousands. And then he does his typical Connor backtrack where he says, that's no less significant, guys. It could be $10 or it could be 10,000. Jesus Christ.
There was a few people who got hit bad, real bad. And I'm working with them as well as I personally can. I kind of wanted to clarify, no one's lost tens of thousands of dollars. That's not what's happened. It doesn't make it any less significant in my point of view.
Hey Connor, is there a reason you have such a hard time looking at the camera when you're trying to do your sincere apologies to your customers for all the incidents that took place? It's a little weird that you're looking at the ceiling. I know you have notes beside you, but it's weird to write notes on the ceiling and on every wall, every surface of the room. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll have to work on that rap battle. I don't know if you do you know how to beatbox? Can you toss me a beat?